The year is 1830, and Mexico, having gained its independence from Spain in 1821, finds itself in a state of turmoil. The aftermath of a decade-long revolution has left the country grappling with internal struggles, financial instability, and external threats from both internal rebellions and potential invasion by Spanish forces based in nearby Cuba. As we examine the map of the time, Mexico appears larger than the present-day boundaries, stretched and grappling with the challenges of organizing a nation covering around 4.5 million square kilometers. The lack of direction post-independence. In the wake of Mexico's independence, the revolutionaries who fought for freedom failed to establish coherent plans or guidelines for governance. The country's dire financial situation hindered its ability to organize effectively. Mexico, with its vast territory, faced internal rebellions and the looming possibility of Spanish invasion. The fragile government in Mexico was ill-prepared for international conflicts, setting the stage for the Mexican-American War 2 decades later. Texas independence and annexation. The United States, in contrast, was experiencing territorial expansion. Texas, having gained independence from Mexico in 1836, initially faced reluctance from the United States to incorporate it into the Union. Northern political interests were against adding a new slave state, and Mexico, still considering Texas as its own, warned of war if annexation proceeded. However, after the 1844 election of President Polk, who advocated for the annexation of Texas and expansion into the Oregon Territory, annexation procedures were swiftly initiated. The precursors to war. The tensions escalated as the United States, under President Polk, moved troops into the disputed zone between the Rio Grande and Nueces River, recognized by both countries as parts of the Mexican state of Coahuila. The annexation of Texas by the United States on December 29, 1845, marked the 28th state's inclusion into the Union. However, it inherited the southern and western border dispute with Mexico, refusing to recognize Texas's independence or the U.S.'s offers to purchase the territory. The outbreak of war. On April 25, 1846, Mexican cavalry attacked a group of U.S. soldiers in the disputed zone, leading to the battles of Palo Alto and Resaca de la Palma. President Polk, citing the shedding of American blood on American soil, sought a declaration of war from Congress, which was granted on May 13, 1846. While Mexico did not officially declare war, the situation was debatable, with Ulysses S. Grant claiming that the U.S. Army's goal was to provoke war without attacking first. Santa Anna's intrigues. Antonio López de Santa Anna, a controversial figure in Mexican history, played a pivotal role in the unfolding conflict. After multiple shifts in allegiance and political stances, Santa Anna found himself back in power, secretly dealing with U.S. representatives to sell contested territories. Unbeknownst to the Mexican government, Santa Anna returned to lead the army, going back on his word and preparing to fight off the U.S. forces. Early battles and U.S. advancements. The conflict saw early victories for the U.S. at the battles of Palo Alto and Resaca de la Palma. General Stephen Watts Kearny and his troops advanced into the disputed territory and New Mexico, encountering minimal resistance. Texas, New Mexico, and California fell under U.S. control, with the establishment of temporary governance under the Kearny Code. Naval operations and conquest of California. To secure its naval presence, the U.S. Navy initiated blockades along Mexico's coasts. General John D. Sloat received orders to seize San Francisco Bay, while General Stephen Kearny marched into California. The Californian territories were occupied by U.S. forces, and Commodore Robert F. Stockton assumed command. The Mexican leadership, including General Castro and Governor Pío Pico, fled to the Mexican state of Sonora. Campaigns in northwest Mexico. Colonel Alexander Doniphan led U.S. forces into modern-day northwest Mexico, facing the Taos revolt and swiftly suppressing it. Simultaneously, the U.S. Navy's Pacific Squadron, led by Commodore John D. Sloat and later Commodore Robert F. Stockton, secured California. The acquisition of these territories set the stage for the larger conflict. Major battles and U.S. advances. The conflict continued with significant battles, including the Battle of Monterrey, Battle of Buena Vista, and the Battle of Cerro Gordo. The U.S. forces, under General Winfield Scott, performed the first major amphibious landing in U.S. history and initiated the siege of Veracruz. U.S. victories at the Battle of Contreras and Battle of Churubusco paved the way for the storming of Mexico City. Occupation of Mexico City and the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. General Winfield Scott's victories in the campaign made him an American national hero, and he assumed the role of military governor of occupied Mexico City. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo marked the end of armed resistance, with Mexico ceding Texas, Alta California, and Nuevo Mexico to the United States. In return, Mexico received $15 million, less than half of the amounts the U.S. had attempted to offer before hostilities began. Conclusion. The Mexican-American War, rooted in the chaos and struggles of post-independence Mexico, reshaped the geopolitical landscape of North America. The conflict saw the expansion of the United States, acquiring vast territories that would later become integral parts of the nation. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo defined the new borders between the two nations, but the war's legacy left lasting impacts on both Mexico and the United States, shaping their histories and relationships for years to come.